The majority of individuals exist within an endless loop of avoidance. They awaken with dread filling their hearts, force themselves through meaningless employment, and eagerly anticipate weekends or holidays. Their existence revolves around fleeting moments of respite from an existence that feels burdensome, overwhelming, and void of inspiration. This approach to living is fundamentally flawed. Existence shouldn't be something you flee from. It should ignite excitement within you each morning. However, the reality remains that most individuals aren't truly alive, they're merely enduring. Their lives have been constructed around duties, burdens, and societal pressures they never consciously selected. They're walking a route designed by others rather than carving their own path. This explains their perpetual search for escape routes. They spend their time eagerly awaiting weekends, holidays, and retirement because their current reality fails to nourish their soul. Yet transformation is possible. You possess the ability to craft an existence from which you feel no urge to flee. You can construct a reality so perfectly matched to your principles in purpose, so deeply satisfying on a daily basis that escapism becomes unnecessary to feel truly alive. Achieving this doesn't depend on fortune, lottery winnings, or privileged birth circumstances. It requires intentional choices, defined priorities, and unwavering discipline regarding how you invest your time and energy. Creating an existence that doesn't require vacation escapes transcends mere achievement. It demands harmony. It involves constructing a reality where your profession, practices, connections, and everyday moments mirror your authentic self and genuine principles. Once you master this approach and seize command of your schedule, surroundings, and choices, you access a degree of liberation and satisfaction that remains foreign to most people. The objective isn't crafting a life requiring constant escape, it's building one that embodies freedom daily, a reality where you rise with enthusiasm, vitality, and purpose. An existence where you're completely invested in your work, relationships, and personal development. A life where you're not marking time until your next break, but fully engaged and flourishing in what you've built. Creating such an existence begins with one crucial transformation. You must abandon default living and embrace intentional design. Most people operate on cruise control. They wake, work, go through motions, then repeat this cycle endlessly. They follow patterns and schedules imposed upon them by employment, society, and external expectations rather than systems designed for their benefit. Consequently, they feel trapped, disconnected from their own existence, drifting rather than directing. When you live intentionally, you assume command. You cease performing actions simply because that's how things have always been done. You reject an existence that fails to energize you. You refuse to accept routines, work, and environments that deplete rather than fuel you. Instead, you begin asking the most crucial question: what type of existence do I genuinely wish to experience? Most individuals never pose this question to themselves. They assume life should feel difficult, work should be tedious, and success demands struggle and sacrifice. This assumption is false. While success requires effort and building a fulfilling life demands work, it needn't feel punitive, draining, or miserable. People feel vacation dependent because they're living out of alignment. They exist in ways that contradict their fundamental values. They work unfulfilling jobs, spend time with energy-draining individuals, and follow routines that create feelings of entrapment rather than freedom. The more misaligned their existence becomes, the more desperately they crave escape. The solution isn't another vacation, it's crafting daily freedom. This begins with alignment, with clarifying your values, priorities, and personal definition of success. Then designing your life around these elements. Success becomes meaningless if achieving it makes you miserable. Money, status, or recognition proves worthless when your daily existence feels exhausting and purposeless. Winners grasp this concept. They understand success isn't about working harder, it's about working intelligently. It involves aligning your work with natural strengths and core values so success feels fluid rather than forced. It means creating a life where work energizes rather than depletes you, where you're not counting down to weekends because you're fully engaged and fulfilled by daily tasks. This requires brutal honesty. It demands asking difficult questions and facing truth about your current existence. Does your work fulfill you, or are you simply collecting paychecks? Do your relationships support growth, or do they hold you back? Are you investing time in energizing activities or wasting it on meaningless pursuits? Most people avoid these questions because they're uncomfortable. Staying busy is easier than pausing to assess happiness. Distraction is simpler than admitting your current life isn't working. However, if you want to create an existence requiring no vacation escape, you must confront truth. You must be willing to dismantle what isn't working and rebuild from scratch. This process starts with establishing new personal standards. Most people settle for adequate. Their job is adequate, relationships are adequate, health is adequate, but adequate isn't freedom. Adequate isn't an existence that excites you daily. Adequate is simply another form of settling. Winners establish higher standards. They don't accept adequacy, they demand excellence from themselves and their lives. They're not satisfied with jobs that merely cover expenses, they want work that ignites their passion. They're not content with convenient relationships, they desire connections that challenge and foster growth. They refuse to go through motions, they want to feel fully alive every day. Once you decide to raise standards, you realize you possess more control than previously thought. You understand you can redesign your life anytime. You're not stuck, not limited by past decisions, not trapped in a life that doesn't serve you. You can change everything if you're willing to accept complete responsibility for your existence. Taking responsibility is the challenging part. Most people resist admitting they're in control because it eliminates excuse making. It means they can no longer blame their job, boss, economy, or upbringing. It means confronting the fact that they possess transformation power but haven't utilized it yet. Winners accept responsibility for everything. If they're unhappy at work, they either change jobs or modify their approach. If relationships drain them, they establish boundaries or leave. If their health is declining, they take control of their habits. They don't wait for life to change, they change it themselves. This forms the foundation of designing an existence requiring no vacation escape. It involves stepping into complete ownership, deciding you'll no longer tolerate a draining life, and committing to building one that feels like freedom. A life where you're not escaping stress but embracing growth. An existence where you're not counting days but fully present and engaged. A reality where success feels effortless because it aligns with your values and natural strengths. The truth is, you already know what that life resembles. Deep down, you already understand what work would fulfill you, what relationships you need to thrive, and how you need to modify habits, routines, and environment to feel more alive. The problem isn't lack of knowledge, it's fear of acting on it. But now you understand better. Now you realize your life isn't happening to you. You're creating it. This means you have the power to change it, to create an existence where you no longer feel the need to escape. A life where work, relationships, and daily experiences energize rather than drain you. An existence where you're not running from stress but toward fulfillment. Creating such a life requires clarity about what truly matters to you. Most people never define what success, fulfillment, or happiness actually looks like for them. Instead, they chase societal expectations, money, status, possessions, without questioning whether these align with their values. Because they're pursuing someone else's version of success, they end up feeling empty, frustrated, and lost. Winners know the only way to build a fulfilling life is defining success on their own terms. They invest time in clarifying what they actually want, not what looks impressive to others, not what pleases friends, not what makes sense on paper, but what feels right for them. They ask, what kind of life excites me? What work energizes me? What relationships make me feel alive? Then they design their existence around these answers. Clarity serves as the starting point because when you know exactly what you want, decisions become simpler. You stop wasting time on irrelevant matters. Stop chasing meaningless goals. Stop filling days with tasks that leave you empty. Instead, you focus solely on what moves you closer to your desired life. However, here's the challenge: gaining clarity about your desires requires self-honesty. It means stopping pretense about satisfaction with non-functional elements. It means ceasing pursuit of goals that impress others while leaving you drained. It means having courage to admit some aspects of your current life don't align with who you want to become. Most people avoid this because facing life's truth is uncomfortable. They stay busy to avoid thinking, bury themselves in work, distractions, and obligations. But if you want to design a life feeling like freedom, you must be willing to tear down what's not working and start fresh. This means redefining priorities, asking what actually matters to you, what you want more of in your life, and what you're willing to release. If you want a better life, you can't just add new habits, goals, and routines. You must be willing to remove things no longer serving you. This is the hardest part because most people are attached to things holding them back. They remain in hated jobs because they're comfortable. They maintain toxic relationships from fear of solitude. They cling to old routines, habits, and patterns even when these slowly destroy their potential. Winners understand that building fulfilling lives isn't just about what you add. It's about what you're willing to release. They know that to create space for better opportunities, relationships, and experiences, they must first let go of things no longer aligned with their vision. This requires courage to say no when something doesn't serve you, courage to walk away from energy draining people, courage to release old routines no longer fitting your goals, courage to stand firm in priorities even when others don't understand. Your future depends on what you're willing to sacrifice today. If you keep holding on to things misaligned with your vision, you'll remain stuck. If you keep saying yes to things pulling you from your purpose, you'll never create your desired life. If you keep choosing comfort over growth, you'll never experience true fulfillment. Winners understand this. That's why they're deliberate about what they accept, and even more deliberate about what they reject. They don't waste time on things misaligned with their goals. They don't entertain people bringing negativity into their lives. They don't maintain habits sabotaging their progress. They ruthlessly protect their focus and vision. This is why they create lives feeling like freedom. They don't fill days with exhausting activities. They fill them with inspiring ones. They don't chase society-imposed goals. They pursue goals aligned with their values. They don't act to impress others. They act in ways making them proud of who they're becoming. The key is designing your life around what energizes you. If you hate your work, you'll always feel drained regardless of income. If your relationships are toxic, you'll always feel exhausted despite success in other areas. If your routines are chaotic and disorganized, you'll always feel overwhelmed despite ambition and drive. The secret to designing an existence requiring no vacation escape is building your life around what energizes you. This means aligning work with natural strengths, building routines that fuel rather than drain energy, and surrounding yourself with people who challenge, inspire, and bring out your best. Once you begin this process, everything transforms. Your energy increases, motivation returns, and life feels lighter, easier, and more fulfilling. You're no longer forcing yourself through a draining existence. You're living a life that nourishes your soul. This is what freedom feels like. Freedom isn't about avoiding responsibility or escaping work and challenges. Freedom is about alignment. Designing a life where work, relationships, and habits support rather than fight against your growth. It's about creating an existence where you wake energized, excited, and fully engaged, not counting days until you can escape. Designing such a life isn't just about what you do. It's about how you feel while doing it. Most people spend lives chasing external achievements, believing success will automatically lead to happiness. They think once they reach certain income, land specific jobs, or achieve particular status, they'll finally feel fulfilled. But that's not how it works. External success without internal alignment will always leave you empty. That's why many apparently successful people remain miserable inside. They have careers, houses, money, and status, but they're still stressed, anxious, and unfulfilled because success isn't just about achievements. It's about how you experience daily life. If your daily existence is full of stress, exhaustion, and frustration, no amount of success will make you feel free. That's why designing an existence requiring no vacation escape requires focusing not just on what you're doing, but how you're doing it. It means structuring life to feel light instead of heavy, setting up work, routines, and relationships to give energy instead of draining it, and finding rhythm allowing productivity without burnout. Most people operate in survival mode. They wake tired from insufficient rest, push through days fueled by caffeine and stress, bounce from task to task without feeling focused or creative, and end days so drained they have nothing left for themselves, families, or goals. That's not freedom or success, that's survival. You can't build fulfilling lives while stuck in survival mode. If you want to create life feeling like freedom, you need to design a lifestyle supporting your energy, creativity, and mental clarity. This means building foundations of rest, recovery, and intentional effort. Winners understand this. They know peak performance doesn't come from working harder. It comes from working smarter. It comes from balancing intense focus periods with rest and recovery periods. It comes from establishing systems and routines allowing high-level performance without burnout. This means treating your energy like a valuable resource. Most people manage time but neglect energy. They focus on accomplishing more while ignoring how they feel during the process. Consequently, they end up exhausted, scattered, and unproductive. Winners take control of their energy. They build energy, fueling habits and routines. They protect mental clarity by setting boundaries. They create work environments inspiring focus instead of distraction. They understand that output quality directly connects to mindset and energy quality. You must design your day around natural energy cycles. Most people try pushing through days with brute force, but this approach isn't sustainable. Human energy isn't linear. It runs in cycles. You have periods of natural energy and focus, and periods when your body and mind need rest. If you try pushing through low energy periods, you'll end up frustrated and exhausted. The key is scheduling your most important, creative, and challenging work during high energy periods, and giving yourself permission to rest and recover when energy dips. This isn't about laziness, it's about working with rather than against your biology. It's about setting up life allowing peak performance without driving yourself into the ground. This applies beyond work to your entire lifestyle. Most people live out of balance. They work too much and rest too little. They prioritize productivity over presence, sacrificing health, relationships, and peace of mind for external success. Because of this, they live in constant tension and exhaustion. Winners design lives with built-in balance. They know rest isn't luxury. It's a requirement for high performance. They understand downtime isn't wasted time. It's essential for creativity and clarity. They know caring for mind and body isn't separate from success. It's success's foundation. You must start designing your life with balance as priority, not afterthought. This means creating time for rest, recovery, and play. It means scheduling downtime with the same intention as work. It means setting boundaries around time and energy so you have capacity to perform at your best. Most people resist this, thinking it will slow them down. They believe working longer hours helps them achieve more. But working harder isn't the same as working effectively. If you're constantly tired, distracted, and stressed, you'll never produce your best work. You'll make mistakes, lose focus, and burn out. Winners don't operate this way. They build recovery into their process. They know rest is a weapon. They understand stepping away from work allows minds to reset and sharpen. They know sustainable success's key isn't doing more. It's doing less better. This is the shift most people never make. They think success comes from constant effort, but real success, the lasting kind, comes from intelligent effort. It comes from knowing when to push and when to rest. It comes from designing lifestyles allowing high-level performance without sacrificing well-being. You must stop glorifying burnout. Burnout isn't an honor badge. It's a sign you're operating out of alignment. If you're constantly exhausted, frustrated, and overwhelmed, something in your life isn't working. You need to step back, reset, and realign. Designing an existence requiring no vacation escape is about building a life that works for you. It's about creating rhythm, allowing you to grow, succeed, and thrive without burning yourself out. It's about working hard but resting hard, being productive but present, pushing toward success while allowing yourself to feel good during the process. Once you figure this out, once you align work, habits, and energy with values and goals, success stops feeling like struggle. It starts feeling natural, like flow, like freedom. After building a lifestyle, supporting your energy, clarity, and well-being, the next step is aligning your work with values and strengths. You cannot design an existence requiring no vacation escape if you spend every day doing draining work. No matter how much balance you create in other life areas, if you hate your work, you'll always feel like you need escape. Most people settle for tolerable work. They remain in jobs they don't care about because it feels safe. They tell themselves work is supposed to feel hard, that they're lucky to have paychecks, that they can't expect to love what they do. But this mindset is a trap. If you spend most waking hours doing something draining you, how can you expect to feel energized and fulfilled in the rest of your life? Winners don't settle for good enough work. They know work isn't just a money-making method. It's a way to express strengths, make impact, and create meaning. They understand work isn't separate from life. It's a fundamental part of life. Because of this, they refuse spending lives doing work misaligned with their values and natural strengths. This is the shift. Your work should give you energy, not drain it. This doesn't mean work will always be easy or challenge-free, but it does mean your work should feel aligned with who you are. It should reflect your strengths, allow growth, and give you purpose. Most people never experience this because they make career decisions based on wrong criteria. They choose jobs based on salary, job security, or status instead of asking, does this work actually excite me? Does this work align with my natural strengths? Does this work make me feel like I'm making meaningful contribution? Because of this, they spend lives chasing money and stability instead of fulfillment and meaning. Winners know true success comes from alignment, not just external achievement. It comes from doing work that challenges you, allows you to express creativity and intelligence, and enables you to make a difference. It comes from building careers feeling like natural extensions of who you are. You must stop choosing work based purely on money, convenience, or stability. You must ask deeper questions. What are my natural strengths? What problems do I enjoy solving? What work makes me feel energized instead of drained? What impact do I want to make? Then you must start moving toward work aligning with those answers. This isn't easy. It often requires stepping away from comfort and familiarity. It may require taking risks, leaving stable but unfulfilling jobs, or starting over. Spending the next 30 or 40 years doing draining work is far worse. Most people ignore this truth. Fulfillment isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you create. Most think if they work hard enough, success and fulfillment will eventually show up. But it doesn't work that way. You can't work your way into fulfillment doing work you hate. You can't create meaning from work misaligned with your values. If you want to feel fulfilled, you must deliberately design your career around things giving you energy and purpose. You must stop tolerating draining work, stop settling for jobs making you miserable, stop making career decisions based on fear, and start making them based on alignment. This requires trusting yourself, believing you're capable of building an energizing career, and stopping listening to people who tell you work is supposed to be hard and miserable. Winners trust themselves. They understand they have power to create careers they love. They understand work and fulfillment aren't opposites. They're connected. They know the more aligned their work is with values and strengths, the easier success becomes. When you love what you do, when you're using natural strengths, when you're making meaningful impact, work doesn't feel like work. This is the key. When you're aligned with your work, success becomes effortless. You're not forcing yourself to show up. You're pulled toward your work. You're not counting hours until day's end. You're fully immersed in the process. You're not working for weekends. You're working because you love the work itself. Here's the secret most people never figure out. When you love what you do, you outperform everyone else. When your work aligns with strengths and values, you produce better results. You're more creative, focused, and resilient. Because of this, you accelerate faster, rise higher, and create more impact. That's why winners refuse settling for draining work. They know loving their work isn't luxury, it's necessity. It's not something coming after success, it's success's foundation. They know the more energized and fulfilled they feel in work, the faster they reach goals. You must stop making decisions based on fear. Stop telling yourself you need to stay in hated jobs because they're safe. Stop convincing yourself you're not qualified for work you actually want. Stop waiting for perfect moments to pursue careers you actually desire. Perfect moments don't exist. You create them by deciding to align work with values and strengths right now. Once you make this shift, once you commit to doing energizing, challenging, fulfilling work, everything else in life begins aligning. Your motivation increases, focus sharpens, energy levels rise. You stop needing work escape because work becomes a meaning source instead of stress source. This is the foundation of designing an existence requiring no vacation escape. It's not just about finding balance. It's about creating careers feeling like extensions of who you are. It's about using natural strengths to create value, doing work that lights you up, building careers supporting your growth, creativity, and sense of purpose. Once you figure this out, work stops being a burden or something requiring recovery from. It becomes an energy source, creativity source, and meaning source. That's when you stop counting days to weekends or next vacations because your work becomes part of the life you want to live. Designing an existence requiring no vacation escape isn't just about work, routines, or environment, it's about mindset. Even with perfect careers, ideal schedules, and right balance of rest and work, if your mindset isn't aligned with success and fulfillment, you'll still feel stuck. Your external life reflects your internal state. If your mind is full of stress, doubt, and negativity, creating life feeling like freedom becomes impossible. Most people sabotage themselves with thoughts. They tell themselves success requires struggle, believe life is supposed to be hard, convince themselves happiness is something they'll experience after reaching certain goals, earning certain incomes, or achieving certain success levels. Because of this, they live in constant lack states, always chasing, always striving, but never feeling like they have enough. Winners know freedom begins in the mind. They know success and fulfillment aren't things you achieve. They're things you create from within. They know true freedom isn't about what you have. It's about how you feel about what you have. It's about experiencing peace, confidence, and gratitude regardless of external circumstances. You must shift from lack mindsets to abundance mindsets. Most people are stuck in survival mode because they focus on what's missing. They think they need more time, money, or opportunities before feeling successful. But this mindset creates frustration and scarcity cycles because no matter how much they achieve, it never feels like enough. Winners focus on what they already have. They train themselves to see opportunities instead of obstacles. They cultivate gratitude instead of focusing on what's missing. They understand true wealth isn't just about money, it's about time, freedom, energy, and peace of mind. Because they feel abundant internally, they naturally attract more external success. You must train yourself to operate from gratitude and confidence instead of stress and scarcity. If you believe life is hard, success is rare, and money is difficult to earn, you'll create that reality. But if you train your mind to expect success, opportunities, and abundance, your life will start reflecting those beliefs. The shift begins with how you talk to yourself. Most people are their own worst enemies. They fill minds with negative thoughts and limiting beliefs without realizing it. They tell themselves they're not good enough, not ready, not capable. Because they repeat these thoughts daily, they train minds to expect failure. Winners guard their minds like they guard their time. They don't allow negative thoughts to take root or entertain limiting beliefs. They challenge any thought not aligning with success, confidence, and abundance. They train themselves to expect good things, opportunities, progress, and success. That's why they win. When you believe success is inevitable, you show up differently. You take more risks, stay calm under pressure, recover faster from setbacks. You're not constantly fighting self-doubt. You're operating from confidence and clarity. Your mind is programmable. If you want to feel more confident, focused, and successful, you must train your mind to think that way. This means cutting off negative inputs, avoiding toxic conversations, limiting social media time, and protecting mental energy. It means surrounding yourself with positive, ambitious, growth-minded people. It means feeding your mind with thoughts supporting success, not undermining it. Most people spend lives surrounded by negativity. They constantly consume bad news, compare themselves to others, and listen to people not winning in life. Because of this, they develop negative, defensive, scarcity-based mindsets. They become reactive instead of proactive, start believing life is hard, success is rare, and they're not capable of more. Winners control their environment. They're selective about who they spend time with and deliberate about what they consume. They know thoughts are shaped by environment, so they build environments supporting success, focus, and confidence. They spend time with people who challenge and push them to grow. They avoid conversations revolving around complaining, negativity, and gossip. They consume books, conversations, and content sharpening minds and reinforcing confidence. That's why their results are different. Their thoughts align with success, focus is directed toward growth, energy is protected from negativity. They're not just working hard, they're operating from internal strength and clarity. Success isn't something you chase, it's something you align with. When you think like a winner, when you operate from confidence and clarity, success becomes inevitable. You stop forcing outcomes, stop trying to control every detail, stop overthinking and overanalyzing. You simply show up, execute, and trust that success will follow because you've conditioned your mind to expect it. That's why designing an existence requiring no vacation escape requires more than changing habits. It requires changing identity. You must become the kind of person who expects success, stays calm under pressure, remains confident even when things aren't going perfectly, and trusts that right opportunities will come because you're doing right work. Most people never reach this level because they're too attached to control. They try micromanaging every detail, overthink every decision, want certainty before acting. But winners understand success requires trust. They know once they align habits, work, and mindset with success, results will follow. They don't need to control everything, they just need to stay consistent. Once you adopt this mindset, life feels lighter. You stop forcing outcomes, stop feeling like you're running uphill every day, stop feeling like success is constant struggle. You're no longer working against yourself, you're working with yourself. You're no longer fighting for success, you're aligned with it. You're no longer chasing happiness, you're living in it. This is the ultimate goal, living in states of alignment, confidence, and freedom. Waking up excited about your day because you're doing meaningful work, surrounded by energizing people, and operating from mindsets supporting success. Feeling calm even when things aren't perfect because you trust yourself and your process. No longer feeling like you need life escape because your life has become something you love living. Designing an existence requiring no vacation escape isn't about escaping responsibility, avoiding work, or avoiding stress. It's about creating life feeling aligned, meaningful, and energizing every single day. It's about doing fulfilling work, building supportive relationships, and creating strengthening habits. It's about waking up excited, not exhausted. It's about ending days feeling satisfied, not depleted. Most people live lives waiting for next breaks, weekends, vacations because they're not living lives reflecting who they truly are. Winners know life is too short to spend waiting for relief. Life is meant to be lived fully every single day. This means building lives where you don't need escape because daily life already reflects your highest values and deepest fulfillment. The truth is, you already possess power to create that life. You already know what work fulfills you, what people energize you, what habits make you stronger. The question is, are you willing to act on that knowledge? Are you willing to stop settling for comfort and start building life reflecting your highest potential? Are you willing to stop making excuses and start making deliberate decisions aligning with the life you want? Once you commit to that path, once you decide to build life energizing instead of draining you, everything changes. You stop living for weekends, stop counting days to next vacations, stop looking for relief because you no longer need it. Your life becomes what you used to search for. Your life becomes what you used to dream about. Your life becomes the reward.